So, this happened to my friend's older brother months ago. I don't remember all the details, but I do have permission to post it here. The cast. Friend's older brother, my friend the dad, I'm just going to call him entitled Dad, the kid, employee, and two really nice officers. The story. My friend and his older brother had just left school, and my friend wanted Tim Hortons, so they went and parked the car in the parking lot. They went inside and got their food. They ate inside because his older brother met some of his friends there and hung out with them. My friend just sat with them. As they were eating, a dad and his kid, the kid looked about 16 or 17, entered the parking lot in a really old and rusty car. They parked next to my friend's older brother's car, and as they got out, started looking around if anyone was watching. I should mention that his older brother has a pretty new car, a 2018, I think, Honda Civic. The dad is looking inside while the kid is checking if the doors are unlocked. At this moment, I saw what was going on outside and told my friend's older brother. They rushed outside and asked the dad and kid what they were doing. The conversation went a bit like this. The older brother, "Hey, what are you doing?" Entitled dad, "I'm just looking at this car. What do you want?" "That's my car." "I have a great idea, kid. How about we trade cars? I can have yours, and you can have mine. You don't need such a nice new car. If you want a new car so bad, just buy one yourself." Entitled kid,
"Yeah, Dad, look, there's a really expensive-looking watch in here."
"Get away from my car. You cannot have it, and go away before I call the cops. I'm an adult, and you have to listen to me. Have your parents never taught you any manners?" At this point, an employee came out to see what the shouting was about. Employee, "What's going on here?" Entitled dad, "This kid's trying to steal my car. He says he wants a new car and his parents won't buy one for him. He tried to take my car so he can have a new one." This is where all of my friend's older brother's friends and have said that that's not true. The older brother said he can prove that the car is his and that the dad is lying. He showed his employee the car keys and took out the paperwork saying the car is his. The employee saw everything he needed to see and called the cops. The whole time the dad and son were denying it and saying my friend's older brother stole the car keys and that the paperwork was fake. When the police showed up, the dad and son realized and tried to run. We stopped them, and the police quickly came to help. The police checked the security cameras of the Tim Hortons and looked at my friend's older brother paperwork. After about 20 minutes of investigation, the dad and son were arrested. I'm not going to share all the legal details, but after everything, the dad got a few months of jail and the son had to do community service. Thankfully, it didn't escalate to any violence and my friend laughs about it now. Edit. I forgot the part where they damaged the car after the employee went inside and called the cops. My friend's older brother tried to stop him, but it didn't work. They scratched the whole side and dented it pretty badly before they could stop him. The older brother and his friends held them to stop them from any further damage. I was typing this late at night and completely forgot this part accidentally. I'm in a wheelchair, but I'm not paralyzed. This is relevant to the story. I can stand and walk for brief and often painful periods, but mostly I'm in a chair. While I can't drive, I can use cars which aren't kitted out for wheelchairs because I can get myself from wheelchair to seat, and my chair folds up and fits in the back of most cars. I rely on friends, family, public transportation, and occasionally taxis to get me places to do my shopping. I can get most places by myself, but getting back with shopping proves an issue. Today I was in my local town at a shop which specializes in frozen foods. It's set out with rows of large freezers and then shelves above those. The tops of the freezers are about level with my shoulders, and I can't reach anything on the shelves. They wear a uniform which is red and black with the shop's name on them. I'm wearing jeans and a blue t-shirt. I've done my shopping when I get a message from the friend who has been my lift into town. Her car's battery is dead. She's had to call her mechanic to come give her a jump start. I realize I probably can't get from the shop to the car park before her mechanic gets there and jump starts it. So I tell her I'll wait in the shop if she could swing around and pick me up from there. The shop is understandably colder than outside and I have frozen food in my bag, which is how I came to be sitting in my chair by the exit with my smaller shopping bag next to me, playing on my phone and waiting for a message to tell me the car is working. Random woman. I need some help here. The staff are doing some kind of large restocking, so there's only someone at the checkouts when there are people to check out. She's just come up to the checkout and hasn't been noticed yet. I assume she's talking to one of the staff. Random woman in a louder tone. "Hey, I need to be checked out. I'm still playing on my phone. Stop playing on your phone and start helping me." I look up and there are approximately 0 staff in sight. Also, she's looking at me. What? I don't care if you're on your break. It's unprofessional to just sit there and play on your phone when there's a customer. "I don't work here." I gestured at my chair and my shopping bag. "Well, why would you be sitting there if you didn't? Do your job." "I don't work here and I'm in a wheelchair. I don't think they'd hire me when I can't reach the shelves." At that moment, my phone goes. The car is working again. My friend is on her way, and I'm thanking God for an excuse to leave this stupid woman. My little bag goes on my lap. My brakes go off, and I turn to leave. She storms over and grabs my handles. Rule 1 of dealing with people in wheelchairs: don't touch the chair. If it's life or death or they've asked you to push them, that's okay. Otherwise, don't touch my chair. Especially not when I've been shopping and my bigger shopping bag is hanging between the handles, so my balance is a little different. I slam my brakes back on, and there's some awkward squeaking between my tires and the floor. Random woman. You're not leaving until you do your job. This commotion has thankfully attracted someone who actually does work there. Staff member, are these yours? Do you still want them? Random woman has left her items on the checkout to come and assault me. Look, someone who actually works here. Now you can get lost. I want to see a manager. I want her. Gesturing at me. Fired. The poor kid was probably trying to articulate that they probably couldn't hire someone in a wheelchair to stock shelves. She doesn't work here. There's a horn honking from outside and my friend is there. So I wheeled off as fast as I could and left the poor staff member to argue with the random crazy person over whether I was employed or not. Who knows? Maybe I got fired just to placate her. I, 22 female, got my first job when I was 16 at a specialty restaurant with 5 locations. I worked at the busiest location. It was summer at the time, so I was working 5 days a week from 12 a.m. to 10 p.m. The restaurant is set up like Panda Express Manchu Wok or those other Asian restaurants in food courts where the food is laid out and you pick what you want from the selection, except it's not in a food court and has its own seating, so more like a cafeteria IKEA setup. My job is to serve people their food, cashier, and some minor prep. By 1 p.m., all the cooks have left. I am left with a dishwasher busboy until closing. 3 weeks have passed and I haven't gotten paid anything. Turns out, the owner, whom I've met a couple of times, is spending all her revenue in the casino and a lot of staff aren't getting paid. Some employees have worked here for years and have over $5,000 of unpaid work. I talked to the owner and she said I can take my daily income from the cash register, cash, no tax, after I do all my closing as long as I write everything down. I didn't care at this time as long as I was getting paid. I didn't know much about the law either since it was my first job, but I did provide them my social insurance number, social security number, so I was hired legally to my knowledge. The manager that hired me never mentioned cash payments when she hired me. I was getting my pay from the till for about a week until one of my coworkers found out. Obviously, she got jealous and told everyone. Since these people have thousands of unpaid work, they felt like it was unfair that I was getting paid and they weren't. At this time, the owner was out of the country, so I stopped taking my pay from the till to avoid getting in conflict with my coworkers. I mean, the owner will pay me eventually, right? I was young, naive, and did not know better. During one of my shifts, a delivery came in and they wanted to get paid on the spot. I did not have cash on the till, and I couldn't get a hold of my coworkers to deal with the situation, so the delivery guy eventually left with all the products. That night, the owner's husband gave me a call, and he was furious that we did not get the delivery since we needed it for tomorrow because we're low on products. He dropped by to leave cash for the delivery and made me wait until 12 midnight for the delivery to come, unpaid. I was left by myself in the restaurant, and I was crying. It was a very stressful situation for me, and working here led me to smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke anymore. This was my breaking point. I wanted to quit, but I was afraid that I wouldn't get all my hard-earned money. The job is easy, but all the coworker drama and the horrible treatment of the owners got to me. I kept working in this location until the end of summer, with over $3,000 of unpaid work, not adjusted with overtime and holiday pay. I did eventually get to talk to the owner on the phone, and all I got was, it is what it is. I did not show up for work on the last day of summer. After I didn't show up, I filed a claim with the Department of Labor Ministry of Labor. When school started, the manager from their other location asked me to come work for her on weekends. Of course I said no, but eventually agreed when she said that I would be paid after my shift with cash. The owner never came here to take the revenue for her gambling, and she's still out of the country, so I did get paid after my shift. Everyone that worked here was a lot nicer too, since everyone was getting paid. I asked my unemployed friends to drop off their resumes. The owner did not know that I was friends with these people, and she eventually hired one of my friends as a dishwasher busboy to work with me. The manager leaves early on weekends, and it's just me and my friend in the restaurant, so I would give out food to my friends, customers that I know, and family for free. Not my food costs, so I did not give a crap. I know it's a jerk move, but keep in mind the $3,000 that they still owe me. Everyone that worked here knows all the crap that's happening. Business has always been doing great, to the point that the owner was able to have 5 locations. Everyone was getting paid on time and were given bonuses during the first few years of the business, until the owner started going to the casino. Her attitude changed and stopped taking care of the business. She would even get mad at the employees for paying the bills, instead of keeping the cash for her gambling. We've had times that our electricity got cut off and couldn't operate as a restaurant. Producer suppliers are also refusing to deliver products unless we paid right away. They aren't getting paid on time as well. The owner mainly ever goes to the restaurant locations to take cash. Her husband does most of the work, and even takes cash out of his pocket to pay for the restaurant expenses. From what I've heard, their marriage went down the drain since the wife started gambling and coming home from the casino without her car. There were also rumors that the husband cheated that led to the wife's gambling problems. I believed all the rumors since it all made sense at the time, but no confirmation until now. I also found out that one of their locations had to close down because they did not pay the lease. They're now left with 4. We're the only second location I'm working at, where the staff gets paid on time, except for the manager who also has unpaid wages from years before, and my $3,000 from summer. Everyone else here is new and are getting paid on time. 2 weeks have passed since I worked part-time at another location. I started getting calls from the labor dept about my claim. I told them everything. Staff not getting paid or the owners paying cash, plus all the horrible treatment that I did not mention above. Of course, the government doesn't like it when we don't pay our taxes. I kept a record of my hours in my notebook. I also had text messages from my coworkers about the working conditions of this place. I kept working here while my claim was being processed, and while the owner is out of the country. Eventually, they got the letter a couple of days after the owner came back, and she was enraged. How do you have the audacity to work here after you file a claim against us? She wasn't aware that I didn't show up for my shift when I was working at the first location and was hired by the manager in the current location. So I got fired. I went on with school and eventually got paid $5,000 for my unpaid hours. And the trouble. The labor dept gave them hell as well for not paying a minor. It seemed like they were taking advantage. That was basically my first paycheck. Quite a lot of money for a 16-year-old. I started working at a food court elsewhere. Totally legal. It's a franchise. One day I was approached by one of the cooks at the first location who recognized me. They all knew what I did and that I got paid, and he wanted to know how to file a claim. I told him everything, what he needs to do, and all the proof evidence that he can provide. I also told him that whoever files the claim will get paid, and I encouraged him to tell everyone. 2 months later, my friends that knew about the situation started tagging me on an article posted on Facebook about the restaurant. Over 4 people have filed for a claim, and the owner is forced to pay over $50,000 for unpaid wages, overtime and interest, plus $2,500 administrative fees. I later on found out that they got audited and more people started filing for claims. A lot of people that worked there before and are still owed their wages also filed for a claim. A food inspection in one of the other locations uncovered several serious health and sanitation infractions. All 4 of their locations eventually shut down. I know it's not an intentional revenge, and the restaurant could have closed down any time due to their debts. Although my friends still joke about it to this day that I added fuel spark to the fire kindle that led to the closure of all their remaining locations, I'm just glad I got my hard-earned money. As a celebration to being fully vaccinated, myself and my family decided we were going to go away for a week to go whale watching. Such a trip needs supplies, so my family heads to the Market of Walls to get groceries and such. So to start, what we were wearing, my mother was wearing a blue dress with short sleeves, trimmed with white flowers design and beige khakis. Oh yeah, she also has a service dog too, vest and all, a brace dog for those who are curious. My father was wearing a gray button-up shirt and black pants. Finally, I was wearing blue jeans and a green shirt that read I'd make a Zelda pun, but I don't want to try and force it. Service Dog, who I will shorten to Doggo, was wearing his service vest. When we entered the Market of Walls, my mother and father went one way, and I went the other way. I was to get things like sunscreen and stuff while my parents got the food. We were bringing our own food since the food there is super expensive. As such, this part is secondhand from my parents, but I will embellish with the classic Karen Troupies. They were in the frozen food aisle picking out some burgers and sausages for our grills. They at first heard the classical excuse me when choosing between Mazza burgers and BBQ sauce burgers. They had just ignored it, but my mother felt Doggo tugging at the leash, trying to get her attention. Not something he was trained to do, just really smart. Mom turned around and saw our Karen for this story. She was clearly confused by the blue dress and began asking my mom where something was in the aisles. Obviously, my mother said she didn't work there, and this set Karen off. My father heard the conflict and approached them, but the gray button-up shirt made Karen think he was a manager. I wish I could explain more, but as I said, this was secondhand. At this point, Karen must have stepped on Doggo's tail, because as I was heading back to find my parents, I heard poor Doggo yelp loudly, which is out of character for him, and I took off running. I arrived at the scene with my mother trying to comfort Doggo. his tail slightly red from blood and my mother tending to it, my father arguing with Karen and an employee wearing a blue shirt, black pants, and an apron coming up. Employee is trying to figure out what is going on, and Karen is going on about how disrespectful my mother and the manager are being. The employee is trying to explain the whole concept of us being customers, but Karen wasn't listening. I took the employee aside and asked him to get the real manager and approach Karen. I should note I run role-playing games, and through that have learned how to improvise. Me. What's going on here? Karen looks me. Who are you? Me. I'm the manager. What are you doing here? My father gave me a confused look and went to say something, but I stopped him. Karen looked me over, my cheesy t-shirt and all, and scoffed. You're not the manager. You're just some kid. I'm 29. Me. Okay. Then what about my parents is telling you they work here? Karen stopped and looked at my parents, and you can see gears turning in her head. My father saw I had things under control, and he went to help my mother, who doesn't work well under stress. Me. Okay, now that you're listening, what happened to Doggo? Karen stuttered. I don't know. Me. That better be true. Doggo is a trained service dog, and is worth probably more than what you make in a year. Karen. I need to. Me. No, you're staying right here till the manager gets here. Doggo is hurt, and I want to know why. Karen must have been intimidated into staying, which is a surprise to me, which will be explained later. Eventually, the manager arrives. 10 minutes later, guess the situation wasn't urgent enough. Along with a pair of police officers who must have been called by someone, Karen tried to defend herself weakly, but all the breeze she had in her sails against my parents were gone. The manager came back and confirmed Karen stomped on Doggo's tail and Doggo got between my mom and Karen. He sat down in front of the two to stand his ground, but he wrapped his tail to his side to keep it out of the way, meaning it looked like on camera Karen also kicked Doggo. I saw red, but let my parents take care of things. They pressed charges on Karen, and the manager paid for our groceries personally, telling us he apologizes and that he should have banned her earlier. When we got back to the van, I started crying. You see, something I neglected to say was, I'm not a confrontational person. Seeing Doggo hurt, my mother crying, and my dad about to deck Karen, I snapped and was actually scared of what I would do. If Karen didn't stand down, I was a bit afraid of what I might have done. Luckily, it didn't come to that. Mom is staying home with Doggo today while myself and my dad do some running around. She is still shaken up, and we would rather not add more stress to her. Thanks for reading, and sorry it's a bit messy. I just wanted to get this down. I needed to get this off my chest and felt writing about it would help. Court is hopefully going to be after the whale-watching trip, but I haven't heard anything about it. Update. Holy frig, this blew up. I can't get to everything now, but we canceled everything tonight and Doggo is on the emergency vet. We'll update when more info comes to light. And thanks for the reassurance. Important update 1. Doggo is physically going to be okay. The vet said the scrape, as he described it, is shallow and should heal. Unfortunately, he will be committed to the cone of bravery when not on duty until it heals to make sure he doesn't make it worse. Mentally, well, have no update on that, but he seemed to be normal around family. I have work tomorrow, so I asked Mom how everything goes when she takes him out for work. As for charges on Karen, interference of service animal, willful injury of a service animal, animal abuse, assault, destruction of property, disrupting the peace, and more. She is facing upwards to 5 years in prison, minimum. Nothing official has been decided yet, however. Also, who the heck is spending their money on me giving me these awards? Seriously, everyone, you are too kind. Thank you, everyone, for the support. Final update before vacation. I won't be able to post until after vacation, so I wanted to answer or reply to as many answers as possible. I read everything, but I can't reply to everything. I would punch that Karen in the face. So this came up quite a bit. Honestly, the thought did cross my mind. However, my parents were right there. They taught me well, as cliche as that sounds. Even if I punched or got into a fight to defend them, they would have been extremely disappointed in me, especially considering I didn't have the full story at the time. If it was just me and Doggo, perhaps I would have. But at this point, I'm talking about a what-if scenario rather than what happened. You are a lot stronger than I am. Thanks, strangers. Honestly, reading your comments is making me feel better. As a shy person, I feel weak a lot of the time. Can't get into conversations, sit at home and play games. But as someone has pointed out, I do seem to collect myself in stressful situations. It is likely due to the first aid training I have experienced performing under pressure, but I don't know. Either way, thank you for your kind comments. How could someone hurt a dog? I honestly have no reason. Doggo might have made a threatening gesture or something. As I said, I wasn't in the area of the initial engagement, and I didn't see the CTV. Either way, she done goofed up. Final words. As I said, I am going on vacation, and the court is happening afterwards. I will do one final update when everything is said and done. Final court proceedings update. Okay, I promise an update, and here it is. I was at work as it was my parents who pressed the charges, So all this information is secondhand. Karen was charged with animal cruelty, assault of a service animal, interfering with a service animal, and a bunch of others. We are getting $6,000 in damages, and Karen is getting 6 years in prison. I don't have much information on this one. Karen is married to a Chad who threatened my parents in the courtroom. He is also charged now, but I have no details on that. I really hope they didn't procreate. Finally, Doggo is still capable of performing his duties. However, he is now skittish around people with high heels. Despite this, he performed his duties admirably despite the traumatic experience. He came out on the boat with us for whale watching. He got to say hello to a whale friend he met last year named Mocha, who allowed her calf to come right over to the boat we were on and try to tip us over. Either way, it was an amazing trip, and Doggo is still the same Doggo he was before, just skittish around high heels. This happened maybe 3 hours ago while I was shopping. For a few days now, we have had security guards at the entrance who make sure not too many people and no visibly sick people enter the supermarket, and that there are no fights or such in the market because of the coronavirus situation. It started shortly after I entered the supermarket and walked to the bread aisle. There was that woman. She was kind of strange, looked like she was going to punch everyone that came too close to her. I was minding my own business, but my basket might have touched her shopping cart for a second while I was standing on my toes in order to reach the bread on the top shelf at the back. She then looked at me disgustingly and said, "Watch what you do, you filthy brat." Then she stomped away. I didn't think much of it because since the starting of the whole corona thing, it's like everyone below the age of 60, which is by far the minority at my area, is someone who's going to kill you, and we are treated like that too. So I'm kind of used to it by now. I got some more of the stuff I needed and went to the veggies aisle. There she was again, touching everything, and this is something that you also don't do even if there is no corona or flu season. So she had some customers talk to her about that while passing her by. I grabbed some onions and potatoes. Both are in big cardboard boxes, so you have to bend down in order to get them. So I didn't see her because I was surrounded by brown cardboard full of onions and potatoes. But then she bumped her cart into me like I was an obstacle she can push away. I am literally at least 20 centimeters taller than her and might weigh 15 kilograms more than her. The second time she hit rather hard, and a second later I stood straight and looked at her. Can't you watch out where you push your cart? You're not the only one shopping here, so look at your surroundings, and if there is something in the way, push the cart around it. It's your fault that you jumped in my way. Also, why should I watch where I go? You are young, have 2 eyes and healthy legs. You should have moved to the side, but your generation is generally full of stupid people like you. I just shook my head and wanted to go away as she pushed her cart into me again. Luckily, another customer saw that and got an employee, so the employee saw the last bump. "Excuse me, ma'am, you can't run over other customers. You have to watch out. Please don't bump into other people." She jumped in my way. "Sorry, Mom, but another customer saw that she was reaching into the cardboard to the onions and potatoes when you came and bumped into her. And this time I saw that you were talking with her and pushed it intentionally into her." She huffed and went away again. I thanked the employee and went on my way. At the cooling section, she was there again, taking whole boxes of things, like cheese. So I walked there and got one package from the coolers beside her, not from her cart, and not in her reaching distant. It was even a different brand from hers, but she still looked at me and said, "You brat again. That's mine. You stole it. Give it back." I didn't steal anything. It is even a different brand from the 3 boxes you have in your cart, and I took it from this box in the cooler. I showed her and walked away while she kind of shouted something along the lines. I wanted to have the X cheese too. Happy that I was almost done with shopping, I walked to the pet food section and there was the employee from before. I smiled at him and got the cat treats and a new toy as he approached me. "Do you have a cat?" Yes. "Can I ask you something? I'm going to get 1-2 on Monday about food and litter. Which do?" Karen came running and interrupted us. She looked furious.
"Where's the toilet paper?"
"I'm sorry, ma'am. We are out of toilet paper and paper towels. The truck is stuck at the border, so it might take another week for another delivery. You have some in stock. I need it now. Only a few packages. We are out, and most markets here are out of it. If you want some, you need to get it from the cities, the internet, or wait for the truck." He turned around, and we continued our cat talk. She interrupted us again, "So this filthy, arrogant brat is worth more than a paying customer like me? I need you to get me toilet paper. Now." She was waving and snapping her hands like she was attacked by a massive amount of bees. I have no idea what she meant with a paying customer. Am I not a paying customer to her? Isn't she also a not paying customer if she still hadn't paid for stuff in her cart at that moment? "We are out. We don't have any in stock." No one said something about the worth of customers. You were the one interrupting. I cared for you first, so don't make any conclusions about this and leave before I get security. One of the security guards looked in our direction as the employee had talked a bit louder than normal, because we were basically in the middle in between the entrance exit and the registers. Karen saw that and stomped away. I then shared all my cat knowledge with the employee and went to the registers after picking up one or two more things. Register 1 closed and 2 opened. I was the first at Register 2. I had most of my stuff already on the register when Karen showed up. I was already preparing myself for some more stupidity as she started to pack her stuff right behind mine, like leaving 1 or 2 chem space. Not even the divider fitted in between, so I pushed my things a little more to the front, and then she started again. "Don't you dare touch my stuff. Keep your filthy hands by yourself, you brat. You even snitched my place at the register even when I was in front of you at the other register, when I was the first at Register 2. She was not to be seen when this new one opened, and if a new register opens, the rule is whoever is first in line is first to be served. Your place at other registers doesn't matter. I didn't even stand on the other register, so this made no sense at all." She screamed like I punched her. She even touched me and held my arm, trying to drag me behind her. I hate being touched, so I slapped her hand away that might have hurt her a little. "You attacked me." The register man, coincidentally the same employee as before, saw that and wanted to say something, but I waved to him and shook my head. I was so done for today. I walked up to him. He scanned my stuff and it was time to pay, so I grabbed my wallet, and because of those modern small pockets jeans, the paper tissue package I always carry with me fell out. Karen then snapped again. "Oh my God, this brat has corona. Get her out. She touched me. I need to be compensated for this because I had so much contact with that filthy brat the whole time. I want a discount." She pushed the card again into me, and the second time she tried, I held it and pulled on it kind of hard so she almost fell. But well, she got what she deserved there. I picked up the package, looked at her. The cart was still in my hand to stop her from pushing it, which she tried, and just when I was about to tell her off, a security guard showed up. I thought I was doomed, but nope. The lady was asked to leave the supermarket. She, of course, resisted and said how I harassed her, attacked her, and so on. I explained what she meant with so much contact, and the employee offered the security footage of her attacking me with the cart. The security guard asked me if I was fine because of the potato encounter and this register cart bumps. I told her it did hurt a little and it might bruise, which it did, thanks lady. At the end, she didn't get anything from the shop and instead got a house band and an escort to her car without her cart because she caused such a scene and was attacking another customer. Verbally and physically, I got a 25% discount on my stuff, and I think I might have found a new friend in that employee. We were going to meet on Monday when he goes to get his cat.